My father was a union activist with the Brotherhood of Super College Porters. He used to work on the Santa Fe Super Chief. It ran between Chicago and Los Angeles.
What you think about the conflict with Garvey and W.B. Du Bois?
Sad. They should have been allies. Okay. But you know, charismatic personalities have egos.
Sam Greenlee, the author of The Spook Who Sat by the Door and the cult classic film of the same title, recently visited the Bay Area. He found an engaging audience of fans at Marcus Bookstore on Fillmore Street.
And if you got a free mind, you're not a slave. Okay. And they had people who were enslaved, but who weren't slaves because they didn't go for the scam. If Pavlov couldn't brainwash a pack of dogs, how is somebody going to brainwash an entire race of people? You can fool some of the people some of the time, some of the people all the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Lincoln said that. And he was a magnificent propagandist. Okay? For everybody who's brainwashed into thinking as black, they're inferior. They're outnumbered by hundreds who don't go for it. Black Americans are among the hippest people on the planet.
The Spook Who Sat by the Door almost had a moment, but that, you know, the warfare, the COINTEL warfare and psychological warfare that they've like played on us since that era has had damaging effects. And you know, where do we need to go at this stage?
Well, it wasn't so much the COINTEL, bro. They've always been overrated. What happened is that the bourgeois leadership copped out when they got what they wanted. You know, once they got affirmative action and jobs opened up for the educated middle class, they left the rest of us swinging in the breeze. Okay? And that had little or nothing to do with COINTELPRO. Okay. I don't want to minimize what happened during the 60s. I just think it was too short-sighted. And it was more about integration or assimilation than it was about building a strong, vibrant, self-reliant black community. We were more self-reliant prior to the Civil Rights Movement than we are now. I mean, integration just devastated black businesses. You know, they still exist, but not to the strength that was true even during the Great Depression. Now, here's one promising thing. Northwestern University took a survey a few years back and found out that blacks working towards their BNA were 4 times more likely to indicate they wanted to own their own businesses than their white counterparts. So that's encouraging.
Tell us about your objective for doing Spook Who Sat by the Door, and also what each character represents as an idea.
Well, it was either do it or write it. Okay, I was offered a job to work with street gangs in Chicago. And I turned it down because I recognized that any revolutionary movement had to be one or two things. First, decentralized. And secondly, national. And that was happening. Okay, you had the Sudanese Liberation Army, you had the Black Panther Party, you had the Republic of New Africa. All of them strong revolutionary organizations. Problem with the Panthers is they never developed an underground arm. They claimed to be armed propagandists. Well, that's oxymoronic. You've got to be one or the other. And if they had divided like the IRA is underground And Sinn Féin is unarmed and above ground, and they're the propaganda organization. It probably would have evolved to that extent. By the time they got hip enough, it was too late. You know, they knocked off, either murdered or imprisoned the leadership, Bobby Seale, Huey Newton, Joanne Chesimard, Mumia, were either killed or incarcerated. Well, yes.
Do you see any connection between your situation and the situation in general with black people, and especially in terms of George's assassination?
Oh, definitely. You know, I think one of the reasons is they didn't kill me is they recognize that when you create a martyr, his memory becomes stronger than he is. So what we got to do is make an example of him, make sure he's broke for the rest of his life, so that other people might not take that that step. Okay? Well, come on, man. I was born poor. Poverty ain't no. I'm no stranger to poverty, and I'm a streetwise dude. So I don't need a huge income. You know, my needs are simple. You know, I'm a good cook. I got food stamps, so I'm gonna be well fed. Only problem I got right now is I ain't got no woman. You know.
Well, that's true of it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like she's around the corner somewhere. I'll just wait till it happens, you know.
Mr. Greenlee,
Yeah.
I was reading and I was wondering, do you think that it was confiscated for political reasons, or could it have possibly been confiscated for economic reasons, the impact you would be making with the whole film industry?
Oh, we started getting reports early on that exhibitors were being visited by FBI agents. And finally, we got word that a delegation from the FBI sat down with the executive of United Artists, who were the distributors. And they promised to take it off the market once they earned back the chump change that they had invested. 85% of the money for that film came from independent investors, primarily black. That threatens Hollywood too. They want a monopoly on filmmaking. Myself and Melvin Van Peebles, who at that time were among the few black independent filmmakers, they didn't want us around because they weren't seeing that money.
Well, I also read that Ivan Dixon, who actually was on the Hogan's Hero, that's pretty much all I knew about him. I didn't realize that he was a director until I was reading up about your film. And I read something that the prints that are here today is a result of the fact that he had the foresight to actually hide the original print. Is that
the negative?
The negative?
He put the negative in a Hollywood vault under a different name, because all of the prints, about 50 prints, not one is available. Nobody knows where it is, where they are.
So, did he live long enough to see that there was continued interest in the film? Or?
Yeah, the film came back out on DVD in 2004, and he died in 2010. So yeah, we lived to see. We beat him. We beat him. Okay. If you've got the perseverance, you've got the self-discipline, if you got the audacity, you can beat them. Because all they got is blind power. And don't use it very intelligently.
In the context of making black people more worldly, what would you recommend as far as if you were to have a group of young black people born in this country and you want to get them outside that red, white, and blue box, how would you?
I'd tell them to get in the Peace Corps. I've known some young black people who serve in the Peace Corps, and man, they really impressed me. Because a guy here They lived in underdeveloped countries. They developed some facility in the language. They traveled widely. And it really impressed me. Okay. Working class blacks, I'd say, yeah, sign up for the Army. You get 3 squares a day and someplace to lay. And it's better being in a barracks than a prison. Every chance we get, we should get the hell out of Dodge. So we know we're coming back. See how other people live, the contrast to what we have. And nobody has more fun than black people. Let's face it. We can make fun out of nothing.
That's true.
You know.
Yeah, that's it. Follow
Go to the corner bar and have 2 beers and crack up. You know, everybody's is Red Sox. You know.
Yeah.
Beauty parlor, same way. Barbershop. We can do more with less than anybody I know.
Absolutely.
And white folks hate us for it. Ooh, man. How can you be laughing after all we done laid on you? Because we laughing at you. You know, we think you funny. They don't get the joke.
I don't get the
Because
joke.
they ain't got no sense of humor. Yeah. I mean, that comedy is all manufactured. You know, I can sit through a Hollywood comedy and not laugh one time. None of it's funny to me. But they be cracking up. I mean, if we didn't have, as a people, a sense of humor, we'd really be in trouble. You know? You know the old saying, laughing to keep from crying? It works. Yeah.
At what point, like in your life, did you decide at what point that filmmaking was the tool you needed to use to express?
On the day I was convinced by my good friend and co-writer, Mel Clay, when he convinced me that the idea I told him about the spook who sat by the door, kind of I call it the nigger who sat by the door. And on the day I decided to write the book and then the film, that's when I knew it.
How old were you and where were you in terms of like?
36.
Okay.
I was, Mel and I were living and writing on the island of Mykonos, because Greece was my last post in the Foreign Service. And I took my retirement funds and all my savings and sat down with the woman who became my first wife and lived and wrote there for 3 years.
Okay.
And I wrote that and also began my second novel, Bagdad Blues. I'm a stone street hustler, you know? That's why they couldn't hurt me, you know?
Has there been a recent spike in interest because of maybe Cliff Ward's documentary?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know Cliff?
We show, I'm from the San Francisco Black Film Festival. We showed the documentary last year.
Okay.
And
When is it, next month?
actually, it's in June.
June. Bring me on.
We should definitely talk about it.
Yeah. I like San Francisco.
You can find The Spook Who Sat by the Door and all of Sam Greenlee's writings at Marcus Bookstore on Fillmore, 415-346-4222, 1712 Fillmore Street in San Francisco.